All right, chapter 5. So in chapter 5, you learn about the imperfect and the future tense for verbs and their active forms, and you also learned about the adjectives that end in er and how to form their alternate endings. So you're not just limited to usa adjectives, you have a couple more to work from. So let's get into it. So with number 12 here, we'll pick out the verb, the manebont, and that bont ending should be unfamiliar to us, right? We haven't seen that before this chapter, so we'll get to that. In terms of underlining our nouns, we have those. We have an adjective, an adverb. All right. So let's start with our verb, right? And this is the new one. So we have manio, manere. Manere. So we've dropped the re and we've added bunt. Okay. So at this is the point where you'll have to go over to your verb chart, pull that open, and then on it you should see. And for us, we're in the bottom left kind of area under future tense. And you'll see for the first and second conjugation verbs, you will want to put bunt on. And when you put bunt on, you get third person. Put it in right here. Hit third person, plural, and guess what? We are out of present. We are no longer in present, we are in future tense. All right, so we're not saying they are remaining, they will remain. So whatever we're talking about will remain. How will it remain? It will remain semper, because that is the adverb. So draw a little long arrow. Adverb has to either modify a noun or a verb, typically a verb, and there you go. So we have they will always remain. That's kind of our fragment at this point. So now we need to figure out what the they is, what the sentence subject is. That means we have to go to our nouns, right? So we have Gloria, Gloriae, and that is glory or fame, renown. And we also have fama, which is fame, rumor, opinion. So very similar. We won't translate Gloria as fame then, since we have fama. But we have a nominative, singular, feminine word, and the conjunction, a nominative, singular, feminine word. So that's two subjects because of the two subjects. That means we need a plural verb. So plural verb, we have manebont. So we're good. We check out there. Lastly, we have tua. We're not quite sure where that goes, but we do know it's an adjective. Tua, it's an usa. So tua means we're singular feminine. And what does it apply to? Well, it actually applies to two. It's doing double duty here. So both applies to Gloria and fama. So we're saying not just the glory and your fame, but we're saying your glory and your fame will always remain. And that'll be your translation. Let me write that here. So in the end, we have this. Your glory, Gloria, and your fame throw in our adverb here, semper. Right. And just, again, for the verb, just a reminder on how do we get here. On manebont, you have to find the second part, which is manere. You drop the re, and you add on the tack-on. The tack-on in this case was bunt. So if you go over to your sheet, you find bunt, and there you go. So number 13. We have weird bonus et peritus aspera verba poetarum probabit. So this is good practice for picking out your future verbs, but you'll have these B endings, which are very common. And applies here as well. So here is your verb in the sentence. Now we just underline all the nouns. Noun, noun, hold on. Noun, and noun. The other ones are adjectives. We have a conjunction here. All right. Let's start with the verb. So culpabit comes from, let's see, it comes from sorry, that is the culpo, culpare, to blame or to censor. So we'll go with blame here. So we drop the re and we add whatever ending. So we've dropped the re and we've added bit right there. So again, that verb chart in the bottom left, you find bit. We know it's which conjugation it is in. So we get third person, not plural this time, but third person, singular, future. So he, she, it will blame. So we know that the subject will blame, and the subject is third person, right? It's not I or you. So let's find that subject. So we go back, where do we think it is? Start of the sentence, right? And boom. We're nominative singular form. So there's our subject. So a man or the man will blame. That's where we're at. Bonus. That's nominative singular masculine too. Peritus is nominative singular masculine. So both of these are modifying we're. 2 adjectives instead of 1. Moving on, we have werba. Comes from verbum, werbi. It is a neuter second declension noun. Yep. So you should be able to see that now. So now we have a second declension noun that's neuter. So if we look at the chart, werba means it could be either nominative plural or accusative plural. And with that, we have to pick, right? We know that our subject is singular, so guess what? It can't be nominative plural. From culpabit, we know that our subject, because culpabit is a singular verb. So now we have our direct object, right? That is the receiver of culpabit. So we can kind of start piecing this together. So the good and peritus, peritus meaning skillful, I believe. It gives you that in the sentence. Skillful man. What is he doing? He will blame the what? The words, and not just the words, the aspera verba, the harsh, rough words. So this is also accusative, plural, neuter. And last we have poetarum. Poetarum. So it comes from poeta, poetai, which is masculine but first declension. That arum, there's only one choice if we look over in those far two left categories or columns. So that makes there are one choice in genitive plural. Genitive plural. And it's actually masculine. And how do we translate genitive? If you look over possession, so it's of. Of what? Not just the poet, but the poets. Yep. All right. It's the last one here. Si quando satis petuniae habebo. tum me concilio et philosophiae dabo. Yep. So we need to find the verbs in the sentence. We kind of have a comma here dividing us. So we'll just look at the left side first. Habebo is our verb. That is a noun. Oh, look, there's no other nouns. So habebo comes from habio, habere. So we've dropped the re and we've added bo, right? That's what we've had happen to this verb, right? Habere, drop the re and we add the bo here. Doing that, if you look at your verb chart, you have bo is first person singular. So I, not we, I. And what tense is it? Future. So the subject here is I, right? And when there's no ego, they didn't put ego here in the sentence, but we have to supply it. So in the vocabulary section of this chapter, it tells you for si quando, it says if ever. So we can translate this all when, if being si, and when being quando, the time when. So that kind of adverbial turn of phrase means if ever, if at the point. So if ever if I will ever have being the actual verb, right? Habebo. Satis pecuniae. So satis is an interesting one. It's kind of a noun that's underlined. It just means like enough, a satisfactory amount. So enough. And our last noun here we can use up is pecuniae. So it's pecunia, pecuniae, first declension. From your noun chart, there's a couple options you have. Nominative plural is one. You have genitive singular and dative singular. Not nominative plural due to the verb. So we know that we can either say enough of money or enough to money. And whichever one works, we'll pick. And the of is better, so we'll take genitive. So if I ever have enough money or enough of money, and now the other half. So we pick out the verb, underline our nouns. We do have a pronoun here. I'll squiggly line it. It's kind of a noun, right? Pronoun. And then conjunction, right? At. All right. So again, start with the verb. So dabo, habebo. We can go through the exercise again, but you'll get to first person, singular, future. I will give, not I give, I will give. So let's start with the adverb, or the conjunction here. Depends on how it's used, but then is how you say tum. Then I will give. And I need a direct object, right? So the direct object of the verb will be an accusative. So let's start from the left here. So may, I might actually have the chart for you here. So may, if you look at that chart on the top left, the ego, may, he, may pronouns, you'll see that may could either be accusative or ablative singular. If we keep going, concilio, from concilium, plan or advice or counsel. And then we have philosophia. So concilium, second declension, could be dative or ablative. And it's neuter. Philosophia, it could be dative or genitive, because we don't think it's going to be a nominative plural. Singular, feminine. And this is one that, as you get into it, you'll understand more, but when you have words of giving or kind of intransitive words like that, very often you will see indirect objects, so dative cases in the sentence. So naturally, as you get more experience, you'll kind of see that we'll just go ahead and disregard the ablative and genitive options here, but those are options, but they will be dative in use here. So we need first of all, we need a direct object of dabo. So the only one that could serve that is me. So not ablative, and it's accusative. So I will give me, I will give myself. And if I give a present to you, right, we're kind of looking for the to you, right? So I give myself the present, right? And I'm looking for to whatever. Who am I giving this to? Well, the things I have in dative are concilio and philosophia. To counsel and to philosophy. Again, not ablative, not genitive. So once he's wealthy and rich, then he'll give himself over. But until then, he needs to make money. Whoever's speaking here.